All right, Coach. Well, the championship game is getting a little bit closer here. What are your thoughts on where your team stands heading in?
Yeah, I think it's been a good week of practice for us. Obviously, looking back on it, it's probably good that we played Friday and our game got moved to Friday this past week against Temple, just because we could kind of get on a normal schedule for us and being a day ahead. And so I thought, getting back to work on Sunday, and then I thought, our last two work days were really good out there. Spirited. I think cutting down on the reps right now is super important. We know who our good players are right now, that we need to get to the game. And so just trying to remain sharp during the course of this week. And then obviously, working on a couple things. The forecast doesn't look great for the game. We know that. So working on some wet ball drills and things of that nature. Obviously, they have, artificial turf there. So I don't think it'll be a sloppy surface or anything like that. But anytime, we haven't really played in a bad weather game this year. And so, that'll be something that could, have an effect on the game. And so trying to prepare the best we can for all the circumstances that we don't control right now.
Yeah, it's been a while since the announcement came down that you're going to Oklahoma State. Have your guys settled in a little bit more with just the situation heading into this game?
I think they've been awesome the whole entire time, and obviously, I think there was an initial shock to it, to be expected, and so, but I do think, just talking to Jared and kind of seeing everything that was moving and how fast everything was going to move on a national landscape, and since then, it's been a week since that's come out, and shoot, we're on the back page of the newspaper now because there's been so many moving parts around the nation, right, and in this conference, and so yeah, the timing of everything in college football, the calendar doesn't make sense on a lot of different levels. Something that I hope, the NCAA works on to get fixed and allows, this to kind of line up a little bit better with the championship series, the way college football's done. And so I don't think there's a perfect answer to that. Either we're going to have to finish the season in December or, we're going to go to an NFL model and we're going to have to do the portal and then be okay if kids can't get into school, for a semester and they pause, going to school for a semester just because it doesn't all line up. And so hopefully there'll be some changes coming. But yeah, our kids have been fantastic this whole entire year. I think, getting to this game and trying to finish it off together is something that I've heard them talk about here the last week or so. And so, yeah, excited to watch them go out there and compete for this thing on Friday night.
Is it easier with just all that's out there for those guys to be able to handle this kind of situation?
I think so. I think that'd be a better question for our players and to get their own personal opinions on everything. But I think, we have a tight-knit group. We've leaned into each other all year. We've had, a lot of history that we've created this year together. And I think nowadays these kids understand, every team is year by year now, and that's the way it's been, especially at the group of five level. And so it's been here, that's the way it's been here for a couple years now. And so we have a bunch of key contributors. This is their first year to contribute to North Texas football, and they've done a phenomenal job of doing that, obviously. And so, and then I think now we're playing for so much right now. And I think they know that, and it's something that we haven't shied away from the past 2 weeks. We knew last week we talked about we were playing for the opportunity to play this week, and then this one here, we're playing for the opportunity to possibly get a bid to the college football playoff. And so there's so much at stake right now, so the focus has been phenomenal in practice.
Yeah, what would a berth mean for this team? You've been here long enough. Do you think it would help change the perception of this program, or what do you think that would mean?
Yeah, right now, there's only one group of five school that's getting a bid. And so, I think if you look at how many group of five teams there are and how many good players and coaches and programs and people that have had, a long history of sustained success, I think obviously that'd be a huge feat, not only for our football team right now and our players and our staff, but also, for this university and continuing to get national exposure. And talking to our guys right now, there's not many teams left in the country that are playing this week. And so I think, just the feeling that you do get when it gets cold outside, it's finally cold around here, and you're playing more and more meaningful games, in November and now into December is something that's special for everybody involved with this university.
Coach, you mentioned yesterday that the way the calendar currently works, it hurts players and recruits the most. How have you kind of navigated speaking to the players who were committed to North Texas or are committed to North Texas still during this last signing class?
Yeah, maybe one of the hardest things for me as a head coach. I mean, my dad's a high school coach. That's how I grew up. I think that this cycle, the way the cycle happens right now with coaching changes, portal, I think it hurts high school kids far more than anybody else. And is it fair? Absolutely not. And I think that's one thing that stings, for me at this position. And you see these guys that have done everything right, and ultimately, they might get punished for being loyal at some point, which makes no sense in the real scheme of life. And so yeah, I wish I had a good answer on how it is, but I do think, because now even the portal, which is later, and everybody kind of has a chance to reset the majority of everybody that's not playing there early into next year, and just the timing of when the high school early signing day class is, and you got to think too, a bunch of these kids now, have committed to being early commits and early enrollees. That's the new fad in college football, and so. On a bunch of different levels, like it bothers me as a person, as a human being, as somebody that wants the best for these high school kids. But I think that's who is getting the worst end of it.
And what have your conversations been like with the players who were committed to North Texas?
Yeah, I'm not going to get into what the players, my conversation. I'm going to keep those things private. And so yeah, they have not been easy, and I'll kind of just leave it at that.
Yesterday, you mentioned Coach Summerall, someone you confided in during this coach carousel process. I was just curious, what other coaches or football figures you were able to speak to for advice or guidance during this process.
Yeah, I mean, I think well documented that I have a long list of guys that are head coaches right now. I mean, just looking at my position coaches, and when I was a player in college, were Dana Holgerson, Sonny Dykes, and Lincoln Riley. I mean, guys that have been through the good, the bad, the indifferent of kind of what's going on in college football right now, and so, and all guys that have kind of made transitions during the course of their careers to new places, and it's not always pretty. Like I get that, and so at the end of the day, I think these opportunities come. Sometimes when you least expect it, they come. The timing will never be perfect on any of these things, and you're dealing with, like, this is a relationship-driven business. And you take a lot of time to build these relationships, and so I think that's what makes it so hard. Like, at some points, people don't think that we're human, and this upsets us, a little bit deep down inside, and it does. So none of it's perfect, but I do have a large group of people that I can talk and get valuable information from.
Coach Summerall yesterday went to his Florida introductory press conference. You haven't done that yet. Was that something that you kind of told Oklahoma State you didn't want to do? And how do you feel like that is important, not to be having those outside distractions like what Coach Summerall did?
Yeah, and just everybody's his own person, and there's different dynamics, I think, at every job that you're getting into. And so, we just thought that it'd be best, if we did it next week. We'll go ahead and get that out of the way next week. And it's just one more thing to add to us getting into it. And so, kind of just, I've always been a guy that really believes in being honest and just having a lot of communication on the front end of things, and getting on the same page with people that are making these decisions. And so I don't think any of these decisions are wrong. I don't judge anybody for doing what they're doing right now. And so just, the way I've handled it is the best way I know how to do it, and trying to not protect everybody involved, but be conscientious of what's going on right now in the North Texas program, and still understanding, at the end of the day, that I'm going to have a different responsibility here really soon.
And, back to kind of North Texas wise, Armstead left Friday's game with a boot. You guys have multiple injuries on the defensive line. Any updates on some of those guys, including Armstead?
Yeah, I feel really good about getting a bunch of those guys back. Armstead's been at practice this week, and so, we've limited some things for them like we've done for everybody, right? And you get in the point of the season, I mean, we have guys that are banged up that are key members that, we'll put red jerseys on them. Or we get into contact practice. That means stay away from these guys, and let's not have an injury that happens out here by by getting that. And then just knowing, right, like Caleb Hawkins as a freshman is getting up to having a ton of carries right now. Wyatt Young's had the ball in his hands a lot of times this year. And so just understanding those guys that we know are our playmakers and trying to keep the hips on them. And Armstead would be one of those guys that's played a ton of football, and we need to do our best to get him to the game.
Speaking of Wyatt Young having the ball, he had a lot of involvement in the backfield a lot of times this year. What does that kind of do for this offense? And, how important was it for you to have him as a quarterback, being recruited as a quarterback, but into receiver, into that role of running back in the Wildcat formation?
Yeah, we've had a lot of success with receivers in the past. I mean, I played receiver in high school. I played quarterback in high school, sorry. Michael Crabtree played quarterback in high school. It's just been something, I think, the translation and you understand defenses a little bit better from a holistic view when you played quarterback, and I think you understand how to manipulate coverages, how to dissect what the defense is trying to do to you. And so his athletic ability was always there when he was a ball carrier in high school, was something that was special. So we went back and forth. We thought he might play running back when he gets here full time. And so, yeah, I mean, I think when you have a kid like that, it allows you to be multiple and not to allow the defense to kind of hone in on the position or have somebody follow him around to play man coverage, because we can line him up virtually anywhere, quarterback, receiver, running back. Haven't done any tight end yet. Might do it this week.
We need to go find some of that quarterback film on Eric Morris, right?
That's right. It's not that impressive. Impressive run, and don't judge my throwing.
Hey, I did want to ask you about the quarterback matchup in this game. Obviously, we know the story about Drew, and we know that Jake obviously had success at BYU before he went to Tulane for other reasons. But talk about just both of them kind of in similar situations. They're in new teams this year, are new situations this year, and now playing for a championship. Just kind of compare those two quarterbacks and what you know about both of them.
Yeah, I think their game's completely different, but I think they're both winners is the thing that sticks out to me, and you can skin the cat a lot of different ways in this game, and I think what they do offensively, and you look at it, he's got a freakishly strong arm. He can make all the throws, but also, the way that they use him in the run game, I mean, I think he's their leading passer and leading rusher right now, and so yeah, I mean, that's super impressive when you look at it, and then, I think they can get really multiple and get unbalanced in quarterback run game, and so for us, I mean, obviously that'll be something important that we're able to do. I mean, you add a hat in the run game. These guys are really big up front, have some really good offensive linemen, and so, and that's what John's done forever, right? He's a defensive guy that's been super successful, playing great defense, controlling the football on the offensive side. Not to say, I mean, this isn't Army we're playing where they're going to go as slow as possible and try to get 3 yards a pop. I mean, they have the ability to be super explosive with these wideouts and these running backs. And so, but yeah, I mean, I think that's the style they want to play. I mean, this is a tough group that you can tell that, it's stressed each and every day, the importance of stopping the run and running the football. And so two totally different ways, I think, of doing it, of him and Drew. But just goes to show you, I mean, there's a ton of different ways to win football games, and I think it'll be fun to watch those two battle it out.
And you mentioned a minute ago, Caleb, obviously a lot of carries and getting to this point in the season. The success that he's had, I mean, when you get him close to the end zone, he seems to find it. Just talk about that, but just talk about what you've talked to him about keeping his strength and being able to keep going this late in the season.
Caleb's a special individual, I mean, just the more and more you build a relationship with him and watch him practice and watch him be a great teammate, I mean, that's something that stands out to me, and I was asking him the other day about a rap song that was on in practice, and everybody started singing the song, and I didn't know what it was, and so I asked him, hey, who is this? And he said, Coach, I got no clue. He said, I don't listen to music. I said, you don't listen to music? And he said, no. I said, well, like any music? And he said, no, I listen to some worship music before the games, and that's the only time I listen to music. And so just some of the stuff, I mean, he's like an old soul in a young man's body that loves to play football and tough, gritty, and does everything we ask him to do. So he's been a pleasure to coach for sure.
I mean, you might have just answered right there with Caleb being an old soul, but with Caleb and then Drew's obviously a redshirt freshman, but not a ton of experience. Those are two important players in your offense. What about them are maybe wired to handle playoff football, this caliber of football, the stakes here at such a young age?
Yeah, there's only one way to find out, and we'll find out on Friday night. And so obviously just the way they've grown throughout the season and the way they continue. I mean, obviously I talked to head coaches before the game. I mean, they know how good Caleb is. They know how good Drew is, and that's going to be their plan to stop those guys just like everybody else has, right? And so I think they've continued to answer the bell. And for me, like I keep saying this over and over, like the success of those two guys, I think has so much to do with how good we are up front right now on the offensive side of the ball and the way the offensive line is playing right now. And so, all this stuff works together. Obviously, those are the guys that are going to get the articles written about him. They're going to get the accolades. They're going to get the majority of the press. But I think, it's been cool that kind of we've been able to attack people in the throw game and the run game really effectively, the last 6 weeks especially.
You've talked the last few days about kind of honesty and going through this whole process. When you first, I guess, started this process of potentially leaving North Texas, how critical was that to you to make sure that it was a clean exit, I guess, versus messy or anything else that it could have
to
been?
be honest with you, like, I didn't think about that at that time. I just believe in doing the right things. And I think the first thing that comes to my mind is, like, I just respect my boss so much and Jared Mosley. And so I never wanted it to feel like I was doing something behind his back or things he didn't know about. Like, and I didn't know if that was the right thing to do at the time. Some of these things are happening, a lot faster and was a lot of first things for me, right? And so I remember calling my agent and being like, hey, like, I don't know what to do, but I'm going to tell Jared what's going on. Like, is that what I'm supposed to do? And he was like, well, you can handle it how you want. And so, I just think when people take a chance on you and give you an opportunity, which, Jared did that for me here. He's been, super loyal to me here and believing in kind of what we're building here. And so I think, that was the most important thing to me is I did those things the right way and took the steps and the measures to over-communicate, if you would, kind of what was going on.
Coach, just to dive deeper on Tulane, based on what you've seen on film, what sort of opportunities and challenges do they present for your football team?
Yeah, I mean, I think overall it's the best defense that we played in quite some time, maybe the whole entire year. And so, one of the top run defenses, they got a nose guard interior guy that's as good as anybody we played. Wouldn't be surprised if he'll be an all-conference type guy. Safety makes tackles all over the place, like both of their corners. And so I think they're really well coached, and I think they play extremely hard, and I think, that's a great combination to have. There's no coincidence that, John, the last 4 or 5 years, has been in the conference championship wherever he's been. I mean, this guy can coach some football. And so, this will be a challenge just on every level. I mean, it's not like a thing. It's like some teams, we've thought we've had clear advantages in certain areas. And so, hey, we're going to attack here, we're going to attack here. We're going to have to play a really clean game, and we're going to have to play really well at all 3 levels, because I think, all 3 levels that we're about to play are really good.
Obviously you're in the midst of this run, but North Texas is still actively looking for a head coach right now. What is some advice or, guidance you would have to a new head coach, or even to Jared looking for a new head coach?
I don't think Jared needs any advice. I think he's proven to do a pretty good job at this thing. And I think obviously, a place like North Texas, I think being able to make the key hires that he's made and things that aren't even as public. I mean, our volleyball team's been phenomenal this year with new hire. I mean, seeing what Ross Hodge was able to do. I mean, what Burton's able to do. I mean, there's been people he's brought in and have had incredible success. And so, and then too, like, I think that I'll spend some time, hopefully, if Jared will allow me, with whoever he hires as the new head coach, and just to reflect on my time here and the things that I thought were incredible, and the things I learned and kind of the way we were able to build it here. And I think that's something that's important, and hopefully it'll help them out to kind of give them some insight of maybe the good, bad, and ugly. I think every job's different that I've ever taken, and it always takes, I say, 6 months to 8 months to really figure out, hey, these are the things that are really positive that's this job, and then these are some things that I've found, like, hey, we need to work on these areas, and they're all different. And so that initial 6 months is so important, in my opinion, to get a good grasp on what's going on, and not only the program, but also the university, the structure of the hierarchy and all those things. And so hopefully I could be an asset, to whoever he hires to help him, kind of talk about some of the things I learned.
Eric, you touched on it a little bit toward the beginning, but obviously last week there wasn't any letdown, wasn't any letdown's the best word, I guess, with the mixed emotions the players got to have knowing you're done in the next 6 weeks. What about this team gives you confidence going forward that they showed after the announcement last week that gives you confidence maybe going into this week again?
Yeah, and maybe just a body of work that they've gone through this year, and obviously that was a distraction. Like, I'm smart enough to know that going into it. At the same time, we've had so many distractions throughout the year, and then also, we've been so battle tested this year, and we've won a lot of tough games, and especially on the road. You look back and just think early in the season and winning the overtime game at Western Michigan, winning the overtime game at Army, starting really bad at Charlotte and coming out in the second half and being able to turn that. So I think they've been through, although, this team, there's not a lot of guys on this team that have been here 3-4 years. They've been through a lot of situations in a short amount of time, and I think watching them grow and handle these things and learn how to win together has been awesome for me. And so I think it's just been more so we're battle tested, and they've been able to lean into each other through hard times and hard experiences this year.
Eric, we talk so often about a group of 5 guys moving up to P4, but obviously 4 coaches out of this league that have done that in the last week. What does it say about the quality of the American and the coaches, and what it does to set up not only players but coaches for bigger opportunities?
Yeah, and I think this was kind of the perfect storm this year. I think last year, there's been great coaches in here since I've gotten in it, obviously, and I think that's shown with the play on the field this year. And so last year, I think there was so much new with the rev share, and people are trying to find out, the financial situation, university, hey, how are we going to stretch these dollars a little bit farther and really commit to the players, which is what everybody should be doing. With that being said, I think in a weird year like that, I think it caused the coaching carousel maybe to be put on pause a little bit last year. And then that escalated maybe to more changes happening a little bit faster than normal this year. And so I think kind of just the perfect storm of some of that coming to head right now. And then, too, I think it's super important, understanding how all these things work together with the portal and rev share, and there's a financial aspect to it. And it's not back in the day where everybody gets 85 scholarships and hey, let's go and build this thing. It's a little bit different with more moving parts. So I think looking for people with head coaching experience might have been a little bit more, put more of a premium on that this year, because they've been through the battles with it a little bit, and they've seen some of these situations. So, yeah, I think kind of just a lot of things going into that happening kind of at this time and turned into the perfect storm.
Yeah, just signing days tomorrow. What do you anticipate for North Texas on signing day this year?
Yeah, just and I don't know. I've kind of let our administration handle that, and I don't want to be the guy that's stepping on anybody's toes around here and letting Jared and Connor be able to make those decisions.
Yeah, and just to wrap up here, you guys have had such the breakout season this year. What did you think were the key points that helped you along the way to get to this point? Were there some turning points in there that you really remember that stand out?
Yeah, I think our staff has spent a lot of time in the off seasons of self-reflection and really figuring out, being new to this conference, our first year here. And so we had to figure that out on the run. And then I think over the course of the last 2 years, figuring out what works for North Texas, what works for us here, and being able to put all those pieces to the puzzle together has been good. And so, and two, I think, being able to have a bunch of older guys right now come in and help us. With that being said, some younger guys, high school guys that we've recruited here that were ready to come out and make a national splash and be able to contribute at a high level, especially at the skill position and on offense. And then you look at defense, I think, being able to bring in a new staff and some guys on that staff with some of those players that had been at Sam Houston, they had the confidence, the belief. And so I think, we were able to kind of put it all together this year after, a lot of self-reflection and figuring out kind of what's worked for us and what hasn't worked for us the last 2 years. Thank you, guys.
Hey, Gabe, so it's almost upon you guys. What are your feelings about where you guys stand as a team heading into the championship game?
The only mindset is getting the win. Nothing else matters. Our full focus is just being able to execute the way we've been able to the last 11 wins and just put that out there in Tulane and get the win and get a ring.
How have you guys handled this whole situation with Coach Morris, being ready to leave here? You guys in the market for a new coach? I know you're a senior, but I mean, just as a team, how have you guys managed to navigate that?
I mean, it is what it is. We know it's a business now. We've seen it around the country, and we know that's just how it is, and it doesn't affect us at all. I feel like we've just been able to literally nothing has changed. It's just practice the next day, get through it. Next day is practice, and just getting ready for Tulane. Just keep doing what we've been doing. Nothing's changed.
Yeah, and I mean, you've been here for quite a long time, and now you guys are sitting here with the opportunity to get to the playoff. As somebody that's been here for a minute, how just exciting is it for you guys?
Oh, it's surreal. I never thought we'd even get close to something like this. My first couple years, we were just fighting to trying to get into a bowl game, and now I never thought we'd be in to get the chance to go to a college football playoff. So I'm just blessed for this team, blessed for everyone in this organization. I've just been very blessed to have the pieces put in for this year.
What do you guys see in Tulane?
I mean, just another opponent we need to go against, but nothing we haven't seen before, nothing we can't stop.
Gabe, alongside you, all 5 starters on the offensive line earned conference honors today, honestly. So just what does that kind of mean to you just as an accomplishment for that unit?
It's dope to have us all on there, but I mean, at the end of the day, we're just award's an award, but we really don't care about the awards. The biggest thing we're trying to fight for is that ring on our finger.
Speaking more on that unit, Coach Morris has kind of highlighted it as like a real reason why the team has experienced so much success is that offensive line. Compared to other units you've played against or played with, what is so special about this particular offensive line group?
To be honest, the biggest thing I think this year has just been we've been meeting so much. Every day we have like a 3-hour meeting after practice in the middle of the day. And I think really just the extra meeting time, when we go to the hotel, we have extra meetings. And just all the extra meeting time I think has really helped us a lot because – I mean, we all hate it and it all sucks, but I think the extra meeting time we've gotten has really helped.
Obviously your career's not over yet, but you've been here your entire career. What does that kind of mean to you, and what does North Texas really mean to you going into the most important game in North Texas football history?
I definitely have some pride being at North Texas. My first couple years, I probably wouldn't say that because I came here because of some circumstances, COVID and everything. But now I definitely have some pride, and I've definitely am very grateful and thankful for being able to leave here with like a winning season and not being like leaving here with just barely making a bowl game or something.
Now a lot of people are getting to know Caleb Hawkins. Talk about what you've seen in him and his development from the time he got here till now, and just when you watch him run down the field.
Yeah, I mean, he's just unstoppable. It's crazy to watch him, especially when you're blocking, because you'll be blocking and then you'll look and then 3 people have tried to tackle him. He just runs through him. It's just watching him has been just unbelievable. Like it seems like no one can take him down. If he's one-on-one with a safety, it's not going to be a tackle 9 times out of 10. It's just watching him is just like he's just like been a beast. It's been crazy to watch.
And as far as Drew, we all know about the breakout last year. We all know his story. But what as a teammate watching him from what he was able to do, and then not just kind of be satisfied with that, but to continue to build. Just talk about what you've seen in his development.
Yeah, it's been awesome. I mean, watching Drew, it's just like he's just very humble. It's honestly just watching like a kid go out there and get able to play football every day. He's always having fun. Never see him like down or anything. He's always got a smile on his face, always positive, always trying to bring people up. Even during games, even if we're down or something's not going our way, he's very positive, going to everybody on the team, hyping them up. But yeah, he's been a great leader, a great support. Even being a young guy, he's really stepped up. And yeah.
Yeah, obviously, with Coach Morris leaving, he's staying on and coaching the rest of the way, however long the season goes. What has that been like? Do you guys view that as commitment to the program? How do you kind of viewed him staying here, even though he is eventually moving on?
We all expected him to stay. I mean, we're finna play for the conference championship and then be able to play for the college football playoffs. So, I mean, we all expected him to stay, and we're very blessed for him to stay. And yeah, we're just ready to move on. Keep every day just stacking on days until the game.
You've played in a few rain games here at UNT, and it's supposed to rain Friday in New Orleans. Does that kind of excite you? You guys have won almost all the rain games you guys have played in. Does that excite you, especially as an offensive lineman, when you guys are practicing with the wet ball drills and running the ball like you guys have been this year?
Yeah, I would say I'm excited because we get to run the rock some more. But I mean, I'm really not going to try and think about the rain or anything. It's just another factor that's out of our control. We're just going to go there and just play our game.
So you mentioned being excited Coach staying, you knew he would. What were the emotions when he told you guys he was leaving, and why do you think, even though it was a distraction obviously last week, why do you think you guys didn't have a letdown and are confident now going into this game?
I mean, I think everyone in our organization is mature enough to know, like, it's a business now. If anyone here were given a raise, like, we'd all take the opportunity to get a raise. So no one can be mad at them. It's a business now, but I mean, when we did tell it, I mean, we had, like, the O-line, right after the meeting, he told us we had O-line meetings, like, meetings for our position. So, I mean, we were just, like, we were already there. I mean, it was a shock, but, I mean, no one really, I don't think it affected anybody. Everyone just knew, like, we have bigger things to work for. We got a conference championship and a college football playoff game to possibly play for. So we really just, I don't think anyone saw that. Everyone's eyes have just, and focus has just been on the games that we still have to play.
It's been such a special season for you guys. As you reflect on this year, what were the key points that maybe turned this into what it is? Were there some times in there that you thought that really were key points that helped you get to here?
I don't know. Every year I've been here, I feel like we've only gone, like, we've barely made it to a bowl game, but I feel like we've been in so many close games. And I just feel like this year we've just been able to put it together and just been able to get over the hump on those close games. Because, like, even last year, the year before, like, even against Tulane, all these teams, like, we'd be in close games, but we weren't able to pull it out. And I feel like this year we've just been able to put all the pieces together and just being able to finish games and actually pull out with the win.
Yeah, because you had those couple of early overtime games. Was that one at Western Michigan and the early one against Army? Do you think that's where maybe you guys built some confidence heading into the rest of the year?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Definitely watching us, like, not give up, keep fighting, and then getting those overtime wins definitely showed the team, like, we have some resilience and, like, we're not going to just sit down. And that really helped, like, for the Rice game. We were down 14-0, but I don't think anybody on our sideline felt like we were down 14-0. We all felt, like, fine. We never thought we were in a bad position at all. We felt like we were still going to play our game. We're going to be fine.
All right, cool. Thanks, Gabe. Thanks, Gabe.
Bet.
Getting a little bit closer to the championship game, how do you feel like you guys are shaping up heading into this game?
We're very confident. We've been preparing all week, breaking down every single play that their offense and their defense has done. And so ultimately, we're confident about this game.
How did you guys handle just kind of a crazy week with the news that Coach is leaving?
We're so close to our goals and the end of the year that, like, it didn't really change anything for us. We knew we still wanted to chase a ring and win it out for the guys and all the seniors. So the team really made us stronger and make us come more together.
Yeah, well, you predicted this. I remember talking back to you in the spring, and you said that you guys thought that this was possible for you guys. How gratifying is it for you to see it all come together, like kind of like you thought it would?
It's definitely heartwarming because now, like, I remember when I first got here and I told the guys, some of them looked at me crazy, some of them bought in, but now, like, everybody comes up to me, even in the locker room, was like, you did say this is going to happen. To see them, like, buy in even more and lock in, that's what I like about this team.
What do you see in Tulane as you prepare for this game?
This would definitely be the best offense skill-wise that we face. They have a lot of speed on the outside. They have great running backs, great scheme. So this is definitely be a challenge for us.
Yeah, and I mean, you've been part of the process here to get you guys to this point. How have you seen this team grow and change over the course of the year that's given you this opportunity?
Well, I remember during their season last year, they won 5 and they lost 5. So after the loss to USF, we would kind of see where this team would go, and they locked in. We won 5 more. So seeing that team take that loss as a lesson and lock back in, it was definitely inspiring.
Alongside you, Fish, when you set out those goals of reaching the American Conference Championship, who were some of the guys that, looked at you and agreed with you that this was a real possibility that you remember back then?
All my guys from Sam that came with me because they knew what this defense could do with this high-powered offense. But the transfers like Will and Pat, like they told me, like we got you. Like that's our goal too. We didn't come here for no reason. So they definitely helped me out with that.
You came from a successful program in Sam Houston your last year, and then you come into this program. What do you feel like you saw in this program that had the potential to succeed, especially with Coach Morris and then the inclusion of Coach Cassidy?
Well, it definitely weighed in on one of my reasons for transferring here. I knew they had the offense last year. I saw the amount of explosive plays and the points per game that they would put up, and us bringing over that defense that I knew worked. So I knew if we get that defense going on the same page, defense help the offense help the defense, that we'd be in this position we are today.
Armstead was left off the all-conference list, but he's been a phenomenal player. A lot of turnovers forced this year. What do you have to say about him? You've played with him for a long time. What is it like to play with a guy like Armstead, and especially going into these final games together?
Yeah, man, that's my brother. I don't know how he was left off. We basically have identical stats, so that's what kind of confused me. But I know he's going to use it as motivation this weekend. He's going back home to his hometown, so he's definitely playing with a chip on his shoulder.
Yeah. Obviously, Coach Morris is leaving, but he's staying with the team through the rest of the season, however long that goes. What is that like? Do you view that as commitment? How have you kind of handled him leaving, but him still being here? What has that been like for you guys?
Well, his goal is the same as our goals this year. He committed to something, and I told him on senior day when he started breaking down crying when I went down, and I told him, hold them tears. I didn't come here just to come here. And so we both want a ring. The entire team wants to finish this thing strong.
Gabe's saying the same thing. You guys are all saying the same thing about it. Last week wasn't a distraction. It really didn't matter. You have the same goal. Is it fair to say that you guys are playing for each other more than any coach, more than any situation? Because it seems like a very mature approach you guys have, and I'm wondering kind of where that comes from and what you think that kind of stems from, I guess.
It's a lot of firsts for this program. First 11-win season, first time going to a championship. And this team, we don't want to just make it to the championship. If we there, we want to win it. So it's a lot of guys' first chance to get a ring. It's this program's first chance to get an American Conference championship. So I think that's what we're playing for.